Dave is still struggling with Zoom. I got an email from Melinda saying she's running late. I haven't heard from anybody else, so not being a big fan of lateness and want to be respectful of everybody's time. Maybe we should call the meeting to order at 18:38. And as is our custom, we generally start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I generally bring a flag that we can use. So if you will bear with me, we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States
of
of America
and to the republic
for which it stands, one
one
nation,
nation, under God,
God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
justice for all.
Thank you all very much. And I do notice that I left something else off of the agenda. Did I forward the new members the copy of last month's meeting minutes?
No,
Okay,
No.
I'll get those out with meeting minutes from this month. They were fairly straightforward, and that should be a part of every month's meeting where we, open up the meeting, with the pledge, then we go on and review and vote to accept last month's meeting minutes, and we just kind of go from there. So we'll do that in next month's meeting. So I see Christy signing in. She'll be with us in a minute. One of the things that I had hoped to do, and I'm going to turn off this phone so nobody else bothers us. One of the things I had hoped is that we would have certainly more folks than we have now, so we could go and introduce each other back and forth. Paul and Rob have certainly touched base on some good and familiar memories between the two of them. Just to give everybody a sense of who we are, why we're doing what we're doing, etc. So I'll start with myself. My name is Jay Panett. Currently serving as the chairman of the Wakefield Veterans Advisory Board. I think I've been on the board about 8 years. A few years ago, when we got our open meeting training, we kind of came to the realization that we didn't have any officers, etc. So when everyone else stepped backwards, I stepped forward and I became the chairman. Lived in Wakefield for about 31 plus years. Marine Corps active 73 to 76, Reserve 76 to 96. Did Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm. Worked in the medical device industry for about 27 years. Retired 3 years ago. About 2.5 years ago, I took the Veteran Service Officer position for Saugus because Wakefield and Saugus didn't have Veteran Service Officers at the time. Really enjoy the position. And as we go forward, one of the goals that we had is to make sure that all of the members of the board are comfortable with what the VSO does, what the Veteran Service Office does in town. So we'll go through that in time. Suffice it to say that, the bulk of our activities have been concerning Memorial Day, Veterans Day, things like that. Our former secretary chose to withdraw from the board because she and her husband were going to be moving out of town. Unfortunately, subsequent to her resignation, he he fell, started a spiral downwards, and he passed away a few weeks ago. So she's going to remain in town. I don't know whether she'll decide to come back on the board or not. But, you know, when she decided to resign, we opened the board up for more membership, and we pushed for more members than the 7. Since I joined, we was kind of artificially limited to 7 members. And the 7 members seemed a bit like a number off a moving truck. No one could really give a rationale behind it other than the fact that that's how many town councilors were there. Didn't make sense to me, so we made a push for more. And thankfully, the town council approved that, and we were able to get, you know, a handful of new people. So one of the things we wanted to do was welcome all the new members tonight and share a little bit about who we are, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to work from the top of my screen. Dan, do you want to go next?
Why not? My name's Dan Benjamin. I've been in Wakefield all my life, which accounts for 70 plus years. I'm a U.S. Army veteran of Vietnam War, 67, 68 Tet Offensive. I'm going through the VA system right now with probably the side effects of Agent Orange. I have prostate cancer, and we're treating that with radiation. And I'm on several boards in town. I've run for office in town. And this is the board that I like the best because I think it helps out. Thank you.
And Dan and his lovely wife Lois have also been very active with the 4th of July parade and a number of activities around town. Marion, you're up top. You want to go next?
Sure. My name is Marion Dennehy. I am lived in Wakefield for, well, a little over 30 years. My husband lived here from the time he was 6 years old. He was in the U.S. Navy. He served in Vietnam in 68 into 69, and he passed away in 1996 due to complications from Agent Orange. I am a member of the Gold Star Wives of America. I am currently their New England regional president, and I am the secretary of the Greater Boston chapter. I'm involved in a lot of things in the town. I belong to the West Side Social Club. I'm the vice president there right now. I belong to the Council of Clubs. I'm the vice president there right now. I just felt that this was something that I would like to get involved in to see where with the Gold Star Wives, we do as much as we can, a lot for veterans in any way that we can. And I thought this was just a way I could contribute more to helping out with anything that I could do for the veterans in our town. With the Council of Clubs, I was involved in getting the council, we do Thanksgiving and Christmas baskets, and we now, the last 5 years, we get names from the veterans, from the VSO for veterans that we also help out at their Thanksgiving, Christmas with food baskets. We started to include them, which I pushed for and was happy to do that. So that's what I'm here for, is I feel I already am helping the veterans, and anything more I can do, I would like to do.
Thank you and welcome. Linda, it looks like I'm looking at the Hollywood squares here, so I'm just going to...
Hi, everybody. I'm Melinda Cook. I've lived in Wakefield since 2014. Before that, I lived in Melrose for 20-something years. I have 4 kids. I work in life science. My husband works for the FAA. My father is a Marine, and my boss at my prior job, the president at Fisher College, was in the Army, and he made it a priority to set up student veteran organizations and really embraced advocacy and creating college events, and made me passionate about the cause as well. So when there was an opportunity to join this advisory board in town, I leapt at it. So I think I've been on the board since 2016. That's it.
Cool. Thank you. Paul, you just jumped from center to right, so I'll go to you next.
Oh, geez, I'm sorry.
I'm not sure I'm not sure what causes people to move, but you just moved.
I touched the screen. Paul Cancelleri, been a resident here in Wakefield for about 25 years, served on active duty for 24 consecutive years, United States Army. I'm a retired infantry officer. And I guess I go back a little bit in Wakefield here. I actually met General Galvin as he was doing his change of command with General Maddox on the island of Sardinia. And he came into our talk, and the S2 came to me and says, "How many stars are in the tent?" And I think we counted over 26, because you had the outgoing team and the incoming team as we were doing the military operation on the island of Sardinia there. It's kind of an interesting thing. And I didn't think I'd ever come to Boston, but after being overseas for about 14 straight years, Africa, Middle East, Europe, my wife and I kind of said, it's time to go home. And I drove through town. I passed by the Galvin Middle School and saw the flag outside, and I says, let me stop in and see if it's the same guy. Sure enough, it was. And then I proceeded to look for a house, and that's where we landed, 1996. I retired out of Boston University, and I went to work for another guy that served in the Navy. And I realized nobody's perfect, but I did medical. I was a senior program manager for Ross Perot and Perot Systems. I did that for about 10 years. And ironically, Mr. Baker, our governor, was the CEO when we got there. And so we worked with him down at Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare to take Harvard Pilgrim out of receivership. So here I am.
Cool. Well, thank you, and welcome.
One thing I have done here in Wakefield is I probably coached a couple hundred kids in basketball and baseball, a little bit of soccer. So I haven't stuck my head in town hall too much. So I figured it's time.
Well, if we ever get back to non-Zoom status, we do have these meetings in town hall. So,
well, the other thing, Jay, is my wife is a school teacher over in Saugus.
Oh,
and she teaches 5th grade.
Cool. What school? Yeah.
At the Oakland Vale School.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I used to drive by it twice a day till I changed my route. That route is just too painful for me. I go over Walnut Street now. Rob.
Thanks, Jay. Rob Ettinger. I am I've been on the board for about a year and a half now, so a relative newbie. Been in town, Wakefield, for 16 years. Have a couple of kids. Also done a lot of Little League and Wakefield basketball coaching. My wife's a high school teacher over in Wilmington. I am an Army veteran, Desert Storm veteran. I was in from 88 to 94, spent some time in Germany, spent some time in Georgia, did my basic training at Fort Knox, and then finished up some time in the Army Reserves up at Fort Devens before they closed the units up there. You know, I was looking for something to do to give back to veterans. It's a cause that matters to me. You know, I sponsor a scholarship for veterans at UMass where I went after I got out, and you know, I've gone to that New England homeless shelter and served dinners to guys, and you know, I was sort of hunting and pecking and looking for little things I could do here and there. So this opportunity, when I saw it, seemed great. It's right here in town, and hopefully I can reach a lot of veterans and share experiences and provide help. And, that's sort of what it's all for. And I love the fact that we're expanding so that maybe we can do even more good in our community.
Great, thank you. And if you're not doing anything from like 8 to 10 tomorrow morning, you can hand out food down in Melrose. You can always use a hand.
Yeah, the full-time gig is still keeping me busy 9 to 5, Jay.
Good time and then some. Dave, you're going to have to unmute yourself.
There we go. How's that?
Okay. The floor is yours, my friend.
Oh, it's mine. Okay, finally connected. I'm sorry about the delay. I was having problems with my Outlook program. My name's Dave Mangan for the new guys here and gals. I am the VSO for the town of Wakefield. I've been at this now for about 1 year and 2 months, and it's been a very exciting time. It's a part-time job for me. Fortunately, I lived across the street from the senior center where my office is located. And we've been very busy here in Wakefield, taking care of what veterans we do have. It's a full day. We have the chapter 115, and the report I'm going to give you right now on that is pretty standard. We have actually gone down by 2 recipients who have been taken off the program thanks to unemployment and COVID subsidies. It's put them in a category where they're no longer required to have the chapter 115. But for the month of October, we had an expenditure of about $7,100 to the community, which is reimbursed by the state up to 75%. We have also 18 now recipients for the Wakefield Mobile Food Pantry. And what we do in Wakefield is I go down tomorrow morning with Jay and Karen and the gang, and we assemble all the food that comes in from the Greater Boston Food Bank into bags and distribute them to our communities, or in Jay's case and Karen's, they come right there to Memorial Hall and receive it. I take back the small amount that I have right to Wakefield at the senior center, and I have a drive-through in the back like a McDonald's. They drive up and I hand them a bag of the food. And luckily this time around, we have donated from the Wakefield Food Pantry 18 bags of dry goods such as shaving cream, deodorant, soap, shampoo, paper towels, etc., which will go along with that. It helps them out a lot, especially when they're having difficult times paying bills and just basically surviving. Let's see. What we've been doing at the senior center to satisfy the COVID guidelines is we have a setup in the facility that requires they come in with by appointment only. And we had a verification of the face mask. We have an upright kiosk that takes the temperature. Then we go to a designated area, staying 6 feet apart. And then after the meeting, we sanitize the whole area completely. Coming up again in this month, or in November, Judy and Tom Gordon from the Wakefield Rotary will be dropping off 50 greeting cards that they make out at the church. And I will be giving those out to the veterans between now and Veterans Day.
How about you personally, though?
Say again?
Your personal background.
Well, my personal background, thank you, Jay. I retired from Boston College. I'm a United States Air Force Vietnam veteran, 1969 and 1970. I also worked for Frito-Lay for 23 years in account sales, development, and distribution, and over to Boston College in 1993. And I worked as the catering operations manager and the alcohol and beverage manager at the college, which was not an easy task, but it was exciting to say the least. I am married. I have 3 grandchildren, 2 daughters. I've lived in Melrose for 34 years prior to coming here to Wakefield 8 years ago.
Awesome. Jackie, you just popped up at the right time. You need to unmute. You need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had something else, and for some reason I was thinking it was at 7. So I've just been sitting here eating dinner. I could have been on with you guys.
No worries at all. We're just doing just a brief introduction for everybody. Especially we have 3 of our new attendees. So just who are you? What do you do? Why you're here, etc.
Okay, thank you. My name is Jackie Milliner. I'm a Florida native, but I've lived in Massachusetts since 1980 and lived in Wakefield for most of that time, actually. I'm a veteran. I was the first female law enforcement specialist to serve at Hurlburt Field, Florida, which was an auxiliary base to Eglin, from 75 to 78, honorably discharged. And then not too many years after that, of course, I moved up here, but I am an executive assistant and administrative manager for a small cybersecurity firm in Waltham. We're all working from home right now. I have 3 grandchildren in the Wakefield Public Schools. Well, one just went to Austin Prep, but the other 2 in the Wakefield Public Schools. My daughter and son-in-law live here, and they own a small business. And also my daughter is a nurse at the middle school. I love Wakefield, have been very happy here. I am looking to retire to Maine though in the next couple of years. Probably not for 3 or 4 years, but I wanted to be here to, you know, help the veterans. I mean, as I'm getting older, I know that there are things that us veterans need and that don't actually come easy to a lot of people. So I want to be here to serve the veterans in our city and across the state and the country.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you.
Christy, I see your name, but I don't see you, and I don't know if you can unmute yourself. Nor do I know if I can do anything for you or to you to help you along. Well, we'll see if that changes. We are missing, we're missing a few folks. As I mentioned earlier, Brian's wife's birthday is tonight. So in order to first, make sure he lives a long and happy life, he's spending the evening with her. We also have Sean and Sean McGrath's a new joinee, and Michael Owen joined, I think, just before Memorial Day this year. I'm not sure. So we're missing a few folks. As I mentioned earlier, I've been the chairman for a few years, and one of the things that we've talked about doing ad nauseum is trying to add just a little bit more structure to the organization. We didn't. If you go on the town's website and look under veteran services, the mission that it has there is completely inaccurate. And I told the town council that before I appeared before them. So one of the things that I believe that we need to do is make sure that we correct that and make sure that we come up with a vision that more accurately describes who we are and what we do. But one of the things that we spoke about in last month's meeting was coming up with some job descriptions. Rob was able to find some for the New York City Veterans Advisory Board. We did a little wordsmithing on them, and I've sent them out to everybody. I believe I sent them to everybody. I don't know. One of the things I had hoped that we could do, and again, I'm not wedded to this idea. If we are not able to go through it all tonight, fine. We can always, kick the can even further down the road. But one of the things that I had hoped that we could do is discuss the job descriptions that we've put forward. Agree that they're a good start, or they're accurate, or they accurately describe what we'd like to do. Vote to accept them as the job descriptions for the members of the board, and then ultimately elect a new chair, a new vice chair, and a new clerk. We had discussed in last month's meeting whether we want to call it a secretary or a clerk. or chairman, chairperson. So we decided that we would go with clerk, vice secretary. So do we want to go through these job descriptions? Do you want me to read them and we can discuss each point? How would you prefer to go through this?
Let's say read them off and we'll discuss them.
Okay.
Jay,
Oh,
I
yeah.
had a quick question for you though. When you mentioned folks that were missing, is Rick's on the board still, right?
In name only.
What's that mean?
He is unable to participate at this point.
Oh, okay.
Zooming.
Refuses to Zoom.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Protest the virtual format. Okay.
So, chairperson. The chairperson shall call for and preside at all meetings of the Veterans Advisory Board and shall appoint all standing committees and such other committees as she/he deems necessary. To be fair, we've never had any committees, subcommittees, standing committees, or otherwise. But I can't help but think that that's going to change in the future. We okay with that so far?
Yep.
The chairperson shall be an ex officio member of all committees and shall perform all other duties incident to the office.
So, okay.
Fair?
Yeah.
The chairperson shall have the right to call a special session when deemed necessary and must do so. I think we need to do some wordsmithing here. And must do so if 6 members serve written request upon the clerk or vice chair. So I guess this is, so if 6 members of the board, and we can certainly discuss whether 6 is appropriate or not, because we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, plus Dave is 13. So that would mean roughly half of the members of the board want to call for a special meeting and serve written request upon the clerk or vice chair. Now, I used to kind of do manuals for a living, and when I'm reading something, if it doesn't read right to me, I question it.
Yeah.
It sounds a little kludgy to me. So if six members of the board request this special meeting.
Yeah.
In writing?
Or you could make it a percentage. If that's
Yeah,
better.
7.
7? Okay.
I say 5. Let's vote on it.
5 works.
I'm just
5 or
kidding.
7.
Dave. I'm just kidding.
You're packing the clerk.
I think the point is, if enough members of the board are interested in having a meeting, we should do it. You know,
Yeah.
it should be more than 1 or 2, but 6, 7, that's fine.
Say
Yeah.
50%.
That's a good idea too. You go with a percentage and then it floats with the size of the board, right?
Yeah, let's put that. Okay.
Right.
And again, you know, and one of the things that we can do is after this meeting, I can send the revised document out and we could via email, including that Wakefield Veterans Service, the Veterans Advisory Board email address, we can vote to accept them as written throughout the month or at the next month's meeting, whatever the case may be. And I think the way that these are right now, they're substantially complete. I didn't see anything that was really, really crazy. The chairperson shall have the right to invite a person to speak at any meeting of the board if deemed necessary to the proper operation of the board. Seems reasonable. Like, for instance, Dan has a guy over in Reading that, conducts meetings, or Dave and I have somebody that we want to bring, just bring it to the chair and the chair can bring the person forward. The chairperson will authenticate all acts, orders, and proceedings of the board and will be the sole spokesperson for the board in relation to the media, agencies, and the public at large, except as he, she otherwise specifically authorizes.
I like it.
One voice, one voice.
One voice, absolutely.
The chairperson will act as a direct liaison between the VAB and officials of the town of Wakefield, the town administrator, town council, etc.
Yeah, same concept.
And that's kind of what we've been doing anyhow. The chairperson will set VAB meeting agendas in consultation with VAB members and the VAB clerk.
Yes.
Yep.
Straightforward.
Great.
Anything that you think might be missing? And this is not the Rosetta Stone. This can be a living document we can vote to amend at any time. Now moving on to the vice chair. The vice chair of the VAB shall assist the chairperson in performing the latter's duties and responsibilities. The vice chair shall perform the duties of the chairperson in his/her absence and shall perform any other duties as delegated by the chair. Reasonable. Vice chair shall assist, monitor the implementation of the VAB strategies and projects. So the vice chair is the company gunny for the board.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. Now the clerk shall assist the chair in the creation and disseminating of meeting agendas, minutes, and all VAB related documentation. The chair shall keep the clerk shall keep minutes of all meetings, establish a system for the distribution, notify the membership of all meetings, and be responsible for all official VAB schedules, correspondence, and documents, including the current list of members. So I think in that regard, the clerk will have to work with the chair and Sherry Dalton, who is the town administrator's executive assistant. I'm not sure exactly what her title is, but I've been running all documentation, meeting minutes, etc. for her. All of our meeting minutes are going to be posted on the web. I guess these Zoom meetings are also made available, I guess. I don't know how generally they are. The agendas, of course, published in the item, etc. So anything else that we see on the duties? Do we want to vote to accept them as amended?
Jay,
No.
the agendas would have to be submitted, what, Thursdays?
The good question. Thank you for asking. The agendas need to be submitted at least a week in advance to the town administrator's office. She puts them in that Zoom format, sends them back to me, and then I send them to the board. And we also need to copy the postings email address, postings@wakefield.ma.us, whatever. That's how it gets in the item, on the postings email address. So at least, probably by open meeting law, it needs to be published a week in advance.
Should that be added then to the clerk to make sure the clerk, and it's part of their job description, making sure that the agendas are submitted within the required time?
Yep. So do we want to vote to accept them as amended, or we'll vote next month on the amended job descriptions?
Vote on them now.
I
Yeah,
think
Yeah, I
vote
think
on
we're
now.
good
I like what you said.
Yeah,
Right.
vote on it now.
All right, I'll make a motion, or anybody can make a motion. I'll make a motion to accept the duties of officers for the Wakefield Veterans Advisory Board as amended during this meeting. Any questions, concerns, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, signify.
Aye.
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 Second,
I will note, Dave second the motion, and I will note that it was unanimously accepted.
And I think one other thing, Jay, if one of the meetings falls on a holiday, it would be the following
Yes.
Tuesday.
Yeah, for instance, we made the mistake one year of calling a meeting on either Yom Kippur or Rosh Hashanah, something like that. When I went through the calendar, I tried to pick them up, but we'll generally, and to be fair, the third Tuesday of the month at 6:30 was what we fell upon. That's what it was when I joined. We joined. I'm not wedded to that. We can, if 6:30 is too early, we want to go to 7. This isn't my world, and welcome to it. I mean, this is our board. We can set it up however we want at any time, I think.
I have no complaints about the current time.
neither do I. I'm fine.
Yep, good.
So we'll keep it at that. And again, to Dan's point, if we do ever find out that we've inadvertently scheduled something that conflicts with a holiday or whatever have you, we can certainly amend it. And in the past, I have had to provide attendance rosters to the town administrator's office. So basically what I've done is I've just come up with an Excel spreadsheet, sent it in saying these were all the people that were there month after month after month. I don't know how, if they're disseminated at all. It's probably for some form of transparency. I'm not sure.
Can you put that on the minutes?
What's that?
Who attended and who was?
That's always in there. But she doesn't, Town Hall doesn't want to go through and pick that information out of the minutes.
Got it.
They've
Okay.
asked for a separate report.
Okay.
No problem. Okay, thank you very much. So I guess now we can move on to the election of officers. First, do we have any nominations or anyone interested in serving as the chair? Oh, boy, did I just have a huge deja vu moment. It's like I just saw 7 people take one step backwards. And Dan disappeared out of the frame.
I'm on 2 other boards right now, and I wouldn't be able to give it all to them, so.
Well, and that's kind of where I am. I mean, believe me, this is not ditch digging, whatever have you. I'm actually resigning from the Scholarship Foundation Board next month. I just need, if I want to start a fight, all I have to do is go this to my wife and tell her I need more bandwidth. And then the fight started, Your Honor. So, seeing no volunteers, I guess I will volunteer to be the chair once again. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Jay, do you
Yeah.
want to give people some time to think about it, especially since we're not complete? I hate to,
Well, you know what? This has been in the minutes since I sent them out.
I know.
And to be fair, I mean, this isn't Catholic school. I'm not, going to hold this against people. And I know people have lives, and this is a volunteer opportunity. So, I'm not going to count noses and toeses, but if you can't make a meeting, just send us an email and say, hey, I can't make it. It is what it is.
Hey, Jay,
Yo,
maybe we add to the new bylaws that you just got approved, a term
good point.
on there.
We wanted to go over terms.
Mhm.
Is it a year? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? Because I think on the website when for us new guys, it says 3 years.
Yes.
And that's a change. New people used to come on with a 1-year term, and then they could go to 3 after that. So newbies coming in with a 3-year term is new, and that was new to us. So somebody outside of this board made that decision.
And how long have you been the chairman?
I don't know, 3 years, 5 years, whatever. No, it's not 5. I mean, it's probably 3. And you know, the other boards I'm on, they're almost all a year term. And to me, that doesn't seem long enough in some regards.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, 3 years seems too long. 2 seems like a happy medium.
Yeah. Yeah, 2-year terms make sense, especially where we generally don't meet for 3 or 4 months out of the year. And
correct.
And you're talking about an 8-month term, I mean, or 8 meetings that you're presiding over. I think 2 years makes sense.
Well, and for the new members, and a lot of this is kind of grandfathered. This is the way it was when the rest of us joined. The board, unless something came up, the board never met in July and August. And last year after Memorial Day, we said, anything pressing? Do we need to meet in June? The board said, no, there's really nothing. So we decided not to meet in June. So, we, at the risk of speaking in absolutes, we will probably never formally meet in July or August. And if we have a cookout in my backyard, we can't really discuss board matters because of open meeting law. You know what I mean? But we can't make any decisions and things like that, because there are enough panels in the town that have been taken to task for violating the open meeting law. So I'll make a motion for that. The term of the 3 positions will be for 2 years. Any
Second.
I
further?
second the motion.
Dave, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you very much. Veterans Day. And one of my frustrations with these meetings is I end up blabbing for an hour, and I don't like the sound of my own voice. So this is not my meeting. This is our meeting. So Veterans Day. We cannot hold any indoor meetings. So we couldn't even hold a skeletal meeting at the Galvin. Speaking for Saugus, they're having a small invitation only Veterans Day ceremony on November 10th, not Veterans Day. I love Saugus. A guest speaker, very small ceremony. Go on and have a nice day. Before I forget, I was on email earlier today with folks from WCAT, the town's television station. One of the ladies down there is putting something together this Thursday, so it's kind of short stroke because it's Thursday, where she's having the principal of St. Joseph's School, who is a veteran. She's having him come in to WCAT, and she's taping a show with him. He was in the military for many years, maybe the Army. So the lady that I've been communicating with is Catherine Healy, She would gladly add somebody else to this. So if a member of this board or somebody you know wants to go down to WCAT and tape a little something to be shown on Veterans Day, she'd love to have you.
What's the purpose of the interview? It's a separate topic, or is she doing this in advance for a launch on Veterans Day?
Veterans in Wakefield. She was
Oh.
looking for former students, etc. And as is everything, the virus has
I know.
everything kind of messed up.
She does a show on WCAT, I think, called Talk of the Town.
Yeah,
Kind
that's
of
it.
a two-person interview show, usually.
Yep. So she was her first plan was to interview the principal, but she would also be willing and or would like to interview another person.
Okay,
Where,
I'd volunteer to go.
I knew you would.
What's
Because
her name, Jake? What is her name?
I'll forward
Thank you.
your contact information to her.
Thank you.
Because I think, speaking
is
about
this going to be made available to the school, or is it going to be on CAT?
CAT,
They run it as a loop, Jay? They're going to run it as a loop on Veterans Day?
well, what they did on Memorial Day is they ran past ceremonies in a loop with other things throughout Memorial Day. They're going to do the same thing on Veterans Day. But another thing that she asked for, and I'll reach out to see if I can get, for instance, if the guys, the folks on this board want to take their iPhone in horizontal mode and tape something for a few minutes, whatever have you, they will take that, put it all together and show those things. I've been mulling this around in my head for weeks/months, and here we are seemingly short-stroking it. My thought was, and I didn't find out today that this seems to have sprung from the Air Force. The notion of service before self, probably speaks to why most, if not all of us are on this board. We want to give something back. So my thought is, and if I get my head together, I want to put something work with her, put something in the paper and on social media, soliciting people to do this. Hey, veterans, families of veterans, your dad was in World War II, put something together and send it into this address. And the wizards down at WCAT will put it together. And they'll be able to drop these little vignettes in over the course of Veterans Day. So I'll get back with her tonight, and then I'll try to solidify that this week. And then we can put something out asking people to do it. I think it'll be pretty cool. Dan.
Taking this out of order, I guess, but with the Wreaths Across America, like last year, this is the perfect, segue into that program.
Yeah.
And if we make a little program or use some of Wreaths of America's already videos that are online,
Yeah.
and segue it into this and maybe show it several times during Veterans Day and get the Wreaths of America going.
Yeah. I will bring that up with her also. I know there's a lot of media that is available on the site. And I finally got the right contact person up there in Maine, so hopefully we'll be able to do that. That's
Jake,
a good idea. Yes.
Do you know how staffed are they at WCAT?
Maybe
I've received emails from a couple of different folks. I think they're limited as far as how many people can go in. And like, for instance, they don't want 3, 4, 5 people going in there.
Okay.
I think a moderator and maybe 2 guests might be pushing it. So maybe they'll have the principal adjourn, Dave goes in, adjourn. So I'll solidify a lot of that stuff up with her after we adjourn here.
But they have an editing team. I'm just wondering if they could also chop it down to no more than 3 minutes so that we have a nice video that we can
Yeah.
push out on social.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
insert the wreath.
Yeah, I
Good
think
idea,
I
yeah.
think that was their intent, to not just take, whatever we send them. They're amazing with what they do. We're very lucky to have them.
I was there, and the only person that was there was, I think, Barbara.
Yeah.
When you first walk in. And I think Ian and Ryan are in and out all the time. But yeah, they could put together something really nice, really nice.
Yeah.
So, hey, Jay, you can put my name down there.
Okay. Dan, I got another email from another guy. It wasn't Ian or whoever you mentioned.
Adam Nestle?
No. I'll find it.
Yes.
Barbara and this other gentleman reached out to me about the same time, and it wasn't clear to me who was doing what, but maybe they were both trying to do the same thing. So I'll get that all squared away.
Jay, one more thought, sorry. Do you also talk with Karen Burke from time to time?
Not on a daily basis, but I'll see her tomorrow morning.
I'm just wondering if she'd be willing to do something and send it in. It'd be nice to have female representation in this.
Yep, absolutely. I'll run that by her. I don't know how the hell did we get on veteran? We haven't even. Let's get back to clerk, I'm sorry. Let's get back to vice chair, shall we? I saw something shiny, and before you know it, we were on Veterans Day. God. Need some sleep. Anyone interested in pursuing the position of vice chair?
Do we have one now?
No, ma'am. This is a new position.
Oh, okay.
Bueller. All right, think about it. How about clerk? Jesus, man.
We had Pam. She was wonderful.
Yeah. All right, we'll hold that in abeyance. So, back to Veterans Day. Any thoughts on, other than putting things on WCAT? Any interest in trying to put together a small ceremony on at the World War II Memorial on Veterans Memorial Common?
I like that idea.
No,
I like it. I like it at the common, but much so much by the memorials, because that's more like for Memorial Day,
Mhm.
but near the flag, where the flagpole is.
Yeah.
Where the that might be a better spot for it if we do it. Just my opinion. I don't know.
It's not, certainly appreciate, or we could do it in front of the Soldiers and Sailors Monument. Because I guarantee you, if we do something standing behind
Oh,
the
forget
monument,
it.
World War II Memorial, where the flagpole is, we will get 1,437 nasty grams about why you're not standing in front of the memorial.
You'd know better than me on that.
And again, small, I'll ask if WCAT could show it live, because as you know, the ceremony on Veterans Day is a lot more elaborate with musical groups and things like that. I reached out to Mr. Bankert, the musical director at the high school, to see if we could get a soloist to sing the national anthem and or a bugler to play taps. I have not heard back from him. So he may be working remotely. I'm not 100% sure, but we've got time to work on that.
Is it okay
Would
with
we
the
run an ad
town?
in the,
Well, I
in the
mean,
item?
we need to direct the town's activities. I'm going to tell them what we're going to do.
Good.
Good to
Would
be
you
the
run an
king.
ad in the item inviting all the veterans, Jay?
No. Have you
Okay.
heard of COVID?
Yes, I have. Yeah. Outside
I've heard we're
events.
back in the red.
Thought outside events were acceptable.
No. Well,
I guess they're not.
only if you show pictures of them on Facebook.
Yes.
I don't
So
think
that-
we want to get in the
that kind
news
Hey,
for the wrong
hey,
reason.
Jay,
Yes, sir.
that brings an interesting point. I think you're going to draw the greatest crowd at the War Memorial
Yeah.
on the Common.
Mhm.
You've got other options. Colonel Conley Field would be one, and you got the flag up there. Walsh Field. I'm not sure if Walsh Field is was that
Named after a coach.
coach? Okay, thank you.
You have Landrigan Field, where is the football field.
Landrigan is a football field. That would be an option that
Colonel
might work
Conley
for
is
the
the
band and the musical piece. Okay, because you know, if you want to support, if you want their support, they can't gather in large groups either in unfamiliar places. Okay, and I think that I'm just thinking small.
Yeah, I heard from some of the kids that are in the high school students that are in the musical groups, and they're really not able to get together at all. So, you know, even if we were outdoors, I'm not even sure we could get the band or any semblance of anything.
We're trying to do something, but we can't really encourage people to come out for it, and we can't have.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, we
That's why I'm
have said-
thinking. That's why I'm thinking of some other place.
How about Patty Heights? You can't even park up there. You'd only get like 8 of us.
Exactly. That's another option. Nobody does anything up there to honor that, and that might be a chance to spotlight it.
Yeah, it's a tough spot, Jay. I mean, it feels like we shouldn't let this pass without honoring veterans somehow.
You're absolutely right. You know, we had something in Saugus for POW MIA Day,
Yeah.
quote unquote, invitation only. There were probably 30 people there, socially distanced, masked, etc. No bands, no nothing. One speaker, taped music for the national anthem, things like that. And to be perfectly honest, I'll have to find out where we get the podium and loudspeaker if we decide to do anything anywhere. You know, I think we're caught between a rock and a hard spot with wanting to do something. We certainly don't want to let the day pass, but what to do that will be respectful and stay within the guidelines, especially as was brought up, you know, Wakefield's back in the red, probably due to one large local outbreak. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if anybody saw it on Memorial Day down at the West Side Social Club. We usually have, as most people know, a huge ceremony every year.
Yeah.
And this year, because of COVID, when we couldn't have that, we did have a small ceremony that we had WCAT come down and they filmed it. They broadcasted it and they filmed it, but everything was done outside. But the only people that were allowed there were the people that took part in the ceremony. Yes, some of the neighbors came around with their masks on and what have you, but there was no invitations. But at least we felt it was something that the president did the speaking. We had our chaplain who gave the invocation. We did have taps and the Pledge of Allegiance. We had as many of the things as we could have, but it was done So did by a very small group, only by those that were actually participating, and then sent out to the town
Mhm.
afterwards, which at least that way you're not getting all groups there, but you're still, showing that the day is important and acknowledging the veterans and everything. So it might be something to think about, just doing it that way.
I mean,
Yeah, I
even something at the Galvin wouldn't be bad, out in the fields.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can certainly come up with a venue. We're fortunate to have a number of choices, but what is it? What does it consist of? A single speaker? We won't have a wreath laying because you don't lay wreaths necessarily on Veterans Day.
Right.
I'm kind of struggling.
The challenge is going to be weather.
Yeah.
And if you have it at the Galvin, you have an outside opportunity in the field. You may have an indoor opportunity over at the AmeriCal.
Negative.
No, they
Nothing
said no.
indoors.
Nothing at all indoors,
Nothing at all indoors.
Even the AmeriCal gym.
Absolutely. Scholarship Foundation offices there, they're not even allowed to go into their offices anymore. So
What if we had 3 veterans, either from our group or someone who wants to volunteer, giving a small brief talk on the reasons for enlisting? Just a thought as a veteran, reasons for enlisting. And that would be a small segment. I could probably do this in the TV segment this Thursday, but something to that nature where
that would be my thought for at least the thing you're doing Thursday. Who are you? Why did you do what you did? And why are you doing what, I mean, you may not have had a choice.
didn't. But you know what?
You were drafted, I enlisted, so I had a choice, you did not, and it was a different time. So
Didn't even have a lottery number.
I think my lottery number was 68, but that
I never had one. I went right from high school. They took us out.
So my only fear is that we're at the 20th of October and November 11th is a few scant weeks away. So if we want to try to put some small ceremony today, a couple of speeches, by whom remains to be seen. But what else do we do? You know what I mean? We could have some, all that keeps coming up of things that are more applicable to Memorial Day. I don't know. Kind of struggling.
I'm looking here on military.com at Veterans Events 2020, what different cities are doing, and they're all mostly, they're being outside. Some of them are very short, maybe half hour, 45 minutes. They're doing different things. And in one case, it looks like they're going to broadcast it live.
Mm-hmm.
But we're all in the same predicament. So, it's.
Well, here's, let's assume that, getting some content on WCAT is a given. And I'll circle back with them to see if they are willing to do anything live that day. If not, it's kind of a moot point.
Right.
If they are, we'll figure out what we need to do and when. As Paul has brought up, there are a number of different venues around town that we could use.
It is a Wednesday.
It is.
I mean, one thought I'm having is, do we have any veteran-owned businesses on Main Street? We can stand in front of the store and do a small thank you.
I
You might get a conflict of other veterans. Might be a lot of them, and then they're all going to want part of that. It might segment it into an issue.
I don't have the data.
It's a good idea. It's a good idea.
no, see, that's one of the problems. We don't have, at the risk of speaking in absolute, any data. We don't have a database for who the veterans are in town. We don't have a database for veteran-owned business, women-owned business. None of those data exist, to the best of my knowledge. You know, going down Main Street, I don't know. But, you know, again, I'll take the action to circle back with WCAT and see what their capabilities are, what their thoughts are, and we can kind of take it from there.
I mean, we
We have to use
could
that as a foundation.
We can keep it virtual and do an Honor Your Vets campaign and tie it to Wreaths Across America.
Well, that's going to be part of it anyhow. You know,
Yeah.
we're going to try to get people to sponsor wreaths in memory of or in honor of their veterans. All right, so we're going to have to do more work on Veterans Day, and as Dave said, I'll start with WCAT. I'll bring Paul and Dave into it.
Dan has a thought.
How about this? We have a field down in North Avenue called Veterans Field. Have something on Veterans Field, even we put a pop-up tent, but just have one representative in town from each of the groups, the 5 veterans groups, representing the veteran in town. You know, 5 people play the song that they usually play down at the Galvin. And that's it, basically. Maybe one short speech.
No, you're right. You know, we could.
On in there for the
Good
vet,
idea.
and you know, you'd have somebody like me representing the Army or somebody representing the Navy, but a town person doing that. And it could be over, you know, we're talking something maybe 10 minutes.
That's a good idea.
What it was named after.
We wouldn't even need a podium. We could stand there by the flag. We could
That's
bring a
right.
flag from the town hall.
If somebody does show up, we got a whole field that they can stand in or behind that fence.
Yeah, there's a flagpole in center field.
There you
There you
go.
go.
Right, well, that's a good idea.
That's a
Yeah, I
great
like
idea.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a start. That's real good.
Now, you mentioned 5 veterans organizations in town. What are they?
Well, 5 veterans.
Five
Sure.
veterans.
It means 5 services, 5
5
services.
service, 5 representatives.
Marine,
Yeah. Okay, yeah, great idea. Because, you know, I reached out to the chief of police and the deputy chief and the fire chief, to see if I could get any veterans / public servants, and I'm getting crickets. So, because, you know, people, you know, just want to go about their business.
One year
Well, I
we
think-
had the singing trooper come to the college, and he was amazing. Have you guys ever seen him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have, yep.
It's the one time when you want one guy, right, who can just belt it.
His name is Dan Clark. We had him for the 4th of July parade many
A
times.
couple of
Yeah.
times, yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of
He-
times.
Give him the microphone, he can go on for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And that's,
Yeah, but I don't think that's what we want this year.
No.
No.
Uh,
Yeah, and we don't have budget, but
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a few years. He puts on a show, that's for sure.
Hey, Jay, I think the best bet is to touch base with WCAT, because I think that's really all we're going to get.
Yeah, I'll definitely take that action, and I will try to get, and they have been tremendously supportive over the years. And, you know, I haven't had any interaction with them as far as production since Tom Stapleton retired, but I don't expect that there will be any degradation in what they do. They're very motivated and very creative. Right, Wreaths Across America. I met with Dennis Fazio, and he, as I think I mentioned, he's fine with the Veterans Advisory Board serving as the local coordinator for Wreaths Across America. Wreaths Across America has over 400 wreaths entered into the system for the quantity this year. Part of you may remember last year we ran into a problem where we didn't get all the wreaths that we sponsored, whether we came into the year with those extra wreaths this year. I went around town weekend before last and recovered all of the as you remember from last month, I couldn't say this word last month either. All the wreaths. My wife and I were walking through the common and the wreaths were looking kind of hoggy, so I went and recovered them all and threw them away. I did maintain the stands that the wreaths go on though. So the count for wreaths Across America includes all of those memorials. As you remember, Dennis had to go out and buy those last year.
Yeah.
We ran short.
So we had 434 the last count. So I don't know what happened. 30 something.
Well, I went down to Forest Glade on Saturday and counted all the graves down there and come up with over 400. But I don't know if those major, the majors, not the monuments, other than the conventional veterans headstones, in the older section of the cemetery, there are some non-standard headstones.
Yeah.
One is Landrigan. The others, I don't know. I don't know who they are. I don't know if they have any. Some of them have veterans bronze markers. So I put all of them in my count. And we're up to like 450. I'm going to go down again and count them this weekend to make sure that we have a good count. I'm going to reach out to Wreaths Across America, not tomorrow because of the food pantry, but Thursday. Dan, you put together a nice thing last year. We need to put together some publicity materials. We need to put
that flyer that Dan had last year would be a nice insert into the item.
There you go.
It probably cost $50 to do that.
No, you know what?
Much.
Brian McCubley, who's on the board, just came off a long stint at the item. Maybe we can put the arm on him to see what we can do. But that's a good point, Dave. And we're going to have to spread things around town, put them on social media. I'll have something going into the item within the week. But we need to get the word out there.
I know St. Joe's Church would probably put a stack of those flyers right there at the front.
Now, Paul, you did something? You did something with St. Joe's down at Bourne? Did you in past years?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yes. We do it every year at St. Joe's. I'm not sure what's going on this year, but
if we do it for the town this year.
Well, yeah, the problem is we want to get them. Yeah. The objective is to get as many as we can, but this year, because of COVID, we're going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
I usually, what I do at St. Joe's is, first of all, the pastor's father is buried at Bourne Cemetery. He does not get a chance to get down there to see the grave, so it's an annual chance for us to represent him. His father is was a commander in the United States Navy in World War II. I outsource the wreaths. I don't buy all of them from Wreaths Across America. I go wholesale with the donations that the parishioners give me. and I take them locally to wholesalers, and we usually end up with about 400. So it's a little less expensive, but again, this year I'm not going after the quantity. I do know that St. Joseph's, I maintain a list of close to 200 families here in Wakefield that and the parish that have family members buried at Bourne National Cemetery. And I've maintained that list for probably 15 years.
Oh.
And we add to it every year, we add to it.
Yeah.
I think we're dealing with two different wreaths across America here. We
Yeah.
still use the same alphabetic code that we've
Yes.
had.
Yeah, we're, that's the same, whatever it is, Forest Glade Cemetery.
So it's the same one.
Yes.
There's
Because-
Forest Glade, and there's the objective
Too
here
many
is
material, we have to use that code so that they all go to Forest Glade.
Well, but Paul's thing was always a separate
it was
exercise.
always down at Bourne
Yeah.
with the Knights of Columbus.
Right.
And Paul, so you know, the Greater Boston chapter of Gold Star Wives, this is the second year that they also are raising money for two of the wives whose husbands are buried there. They are also raising money for from wreaths across America for wreaths down at Bourne Cemetery. This is
Right.
the second year we've done it through the chapter, and they're spearheaded it. They're doing pretty good. So it's a help. I mean, whatever
Well,
you're
it is a
doing,
help.
whatever
It
they're
is.
doing, hopefully the
Yeah.
day will come, we'll get them all covered, which is what we'd like to have happen.
Mhm.
Well, at St. Joe's, for an example, if you gave the parishioners a choice, if the families, say there's 100 families at St. Joe's that have veterans at Forest Glade, another 100 who might have them down at Bourne, then you could give them the option.
You can give them an option. I don't see anything wrong with that. The question that I have, though, is I don't know how we usually handle that after a church service.
Mhm.
And right now, there's no congregating after the church services.
Oh,
Everybody,
right.
it's
Yeah.
get out of the building.
Mhm.
Okay, so I don't know how to. I got to think through going.
Other than
I
putting
don't know how to
something-
address that.
Other than putting something in the bulletin, which I'm not even sure if they're putting the bulletins out anymore. Probably
They are.
not.
They're putting limited bulletins. Yeah, they are
Ad
putting.
They have their online presence, but I personally, I don't want to mix the two. I don't want anything to do with St. Joseph's.
Okay,
Yeah, I think you're
okay.
You're safe with that.
That's their project. I don't want to cause any hate and discontent with that.
Good.
Could I ask Paul or
We
Marion,
discussed it.
those wreaths go to individual people or it's just random?
No, we have a list of each family that goes down to help. I give them a list of individual family members. They usually get 6 or 12, and they take their kids and they go find the graves in a different section. So it's individual. They don't just do a section. They
Yeah,
do
see-
individual names.
Random. We just
No,
put them on,
Yeah, we do. We do. Yeah.
because if it
Yeah.
ever slipped out or something, it would be almost impossible to find some of these, gravestones.
Mhm.
Yeah, the
Well,
girls-
what's
the
nice,
girls- the-
what's really good is that here in Wakefield, it's easy to cover, 400 is doable.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not a large cemetery. However, we're not doing the Lakeside Cemetery, which is kind of odd because there are veterans buried there too.
But it's not a cemetery, it's a private cemetery.
Okay. But for Forest Glade, the 400 that we have there is very easy to do. That's not that's within reach. And the good thing
God's
is
ear.
we're on the list. Forest Glade is on the list with Wreaths Across America.
Correct.
And that's a good thing.
all of ours are individual. They've done fundraising. They did a fundraising at a golf club. They were allowed to sit outside and everybody's social distance. So they've done other stuff over the last year and this year. I just sent out, as the region president, I sent out to all of Massachusetts Gold Star Wives, letting them know that they are you know, trying to raise the money to put as many wreaths as they possibly can down at Bourne. So that hopefully, like, their goal is to one day get all of them covered. That's what they want to do. But it's
That's a big
individual
project.
people. It's no
Yeah.
groups or anything, except
Yeah.
the Gold Star Wives.
Yeah, that's how I first became aware of it, was through the exercise down in Bourne. I don't know whether folks can see this. Can you, at the bottom of your screen, do you see a chat?
Yep.
Yeah,
From MC to everyone? It talks about crowd limits.
Mhm.
Communities that do not qualify as lower risk, which would be a Wakefield, can have up to 50 people at an outdoor public setting, outdoor gathering.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Wakefield is back in the red, as we discussed earlier.
It's because of Brightview.
Right.
Yeah, that Brightview was the problem with that. That's what put us in the red.
As I understand it, yeah. Okay. Lots of work to do on
Okay.
Leaks Across America.
Yep.
We're about an hour and a half into this meeting, and generally these do not last this long, but it's all good stuff.
Jay, can I ask you a question? Did you get any donation from the Vietnam Veterans of America?
Me personally,
For Reads Across America, you will. We had a meeting a couple of weeks back.
Yeah, I was at the meeting, but I haven't seen anything since. It was like a month ago.
What did they say, Dan, what did they say for that meeting when we
Greg
were there?
called me
$100?
what to make the check out to.
Okay,
Across
And-
America, me, and I'll turn it in.
yeah.
they were gonna send a check to Leaks Across America or to you?
Well, to me,
Okay,
a Reese Across America, and then you get 20 Reese.
okay, all right.
Right.
I have not seen that reflected on the website.
And we got a meeting this week. We can,
Okay,
Find out.
cool. Yeah, just let me know, because I have a good, a reliable contact up there now, which will be helpful.
Dan, Dan, while I get you just for a minute, Dan, that meeting is next Wednesday?
I think, yeah.
Okay.
Any other business?
Well, the only thing I have to say on that is this Friday is the 37th year anniversary of Beirut bombing. We lost a lot of Marines. I think it was the tune of 237 Marines. Yeah, 273 Marines lost their lives that day on October 23rd, 1983. And I don't know if people are aware of it. I don't think they're going to have anything in the newspaper at all, but just to give our board members the information.
It's one of those, you remember where you were that day. For me,
Right.
Yeah.
was actually coming home from golfing at Pine Meadows Golf Course in Lexington when it came across the news. Okay, thank you for sharing that, Dave, because these, you know, I hear from my troops generally when it's too late for me to do anything about that, so I'll try to take a note on that.
Go.
Anything else for the good of the group? Can I just ask Dave a question?
Sure.
I through the Council of Clubs, we do the food baskets for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And Mary Ann usually
Okay.
gives me a list. I've sent that out to her and I haven't heard anything back to her on if there's new additions to the list or anything. Could you ask her to see if she could, because I'm going to be starting to
Sure.
call all the different people as well as the vets
I'll see her
on our
tomorrow.
list so that we can know what we have to do to for food and everything. She should
What's the name of
have-
the outfit again?
It's the Council of Clubs in Wakefield. And she should
Okay.
have my email address. She should have it because I deal with her every year.
Okay, Marion, I will see her tomorrow and I'll
Great,
ask her.
because she's the only one I haven't heard from and would like to get the list completed so that we know we have everybody and start calling. That'd be great.
Okay,
Thank
sounds
you.
good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Anything else for the good of the group? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second by Marion, all in
The
favor?
motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all very, very much, and we'll be in touch.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank
everything.
you.
Jay,
Good
thank
seeing
you.
all.
Nice
Bye-bye.
meeting you all.
Bye.
And
Yeah, it was a
I'll see you
pleasure.
tomorrow, Jay.
Yep.